Pam Valentine, President and CEO of the MS Society of Canada. First, I hope you and your families are keeping safe and healthy. Thank you so much for joining us as part of the Women Against MS Speaker Series. This is all in anticipation of the big day, the 2020 WAMS Gala on November 20th. I'm so proud to be part of this collective group of professionals who are building awareness and raising funds, all in support of Canadians living with MS. Every year, this unique event brings together hundreds of people from across the country within our own networks to join together for an important cause. And although things look a little different this year, what better way to continue to build our MS community than to be able to connect with each of you from coast to coast to coast in this new and exciting format. How cool is this? Today, we get to hear personal stories from some incredible leaders within our MS community. And I don't know what's more personal than all of us here today acknowledging just how much the health crisis we've all been experiencing has changed us. For people affected by MS, it's another uncertain and unpredictable concern on top of an already challenging disease. Canadians living with MS need us now more than ever. With a drastic fall in revenue, health charities are struggling to provide the much needed support for some of Canada's most vulnerable citizens. This support funds leading edge MS research that is so fundamental to changing lives. And since 2005, WAMS has raised over $4.3 million to help fund groundbreaking research in Canada. And we need to continue this momentum. And we need your help. You being here today, being part of the WAMS collective, you are making a difference. Your support, whether it's purchasing a ticket, participating in our silent auction, or making a donation, you are making a difference in the lives of Canadians affected by MS. With your support, we can continue to invest in research dedicated to finding a cure and improving the quality of life for people affected by MS. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor to be one of the WAMS Gala Sales Cabinet co-chairs. It is our distinct pleasure to not only be raising research funds, but also awareness for people living with MS, especially in this challenging year. Although we couldn't all be together at the Fairmont Royal York like we normally do, we are eager to be back in 2021 to the home of WAMS in Toronto. We would like to thank the Fairmont Royal York for their outstanding support throughout the years and commend all of their efforts to support our healthcare workers and our community through this pandemic.
On behalf of the WAMS Sales Cabinet, my co-chair, Corinne Abgrell-Teslick, and on behalf of presenting sponsor, the Love You by Shoppers Drug Mart program, I would like to extend my heartfelt appreciation for your support of WAMS. We all have MS experiences to share. Friends whose lives have been impacted, loved ones whose personal struggles we see every day. I'm especially proud of the work of Shoppers Drug Mart, and particularly the Love You by Shoppers Drug Mart program in partnering with the MS Society in recognition of this unique need of women living with MS to have the best available resources and support for their health.
This event would not be possible without our sponsors. So I would like to acknowledge them. Firstly, our presenting sponsor, the Love You by Shoppers Drug Mart program. Our gold sponsor, Scotiabank, and our bronze sponsor, Apotex. Our sales cabinet not only finds our sponsors, but has the critical role of bringing us all together. So I'd like to acknowledge them. Firstly, my co-chair, Jen Casu, Beverly McAdam, Lubna Ladek, Chris Potter, Stephanie Dehan, Lisa Gibbs, Lena Durkeshley Percy, and Samantha Walsh. Thank you from the bottom of our heart for everything you've done. Last but not least, I'd like to thank all of you in this unprecedented time for joining us. It means more than you can imagine to all of us, but also to everyone living with MS. I hope you enjoy the speakers we've lined up today and through the series. And I'd like to now pass it over to a familiar face to those who've been with us before, our very own Liz West.
Thank you so much, Corinne and Jen, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Liz West, and I'm very happy to be with you today hosting the Toronto session of our first ever WAMS Speaker Series. Now, I want to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we're on today. And yes, we're meeting on a virtual platform, but I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the land which we all call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations peoples that call this nation home. All right, now it's my privilege to be able to introduce the WAMS Toronto honoree, Diane Kazarian. Diane is PwC's first female GTA managing partner, leading PwC's largest Canadian market, managing more than 3,500 professionals and 300 partners across all key industries. Diane's a recipient of Canada's Most Powerful Women Top 100 Award presented by the Women's Executive Network, is the co-sponsor of PwC's award-winning Women in Leadership program, and also serves as PwC chair at United Way in the GTA, and is one of the founding partners of #MoveTheDial organization. Before Diane joins us, let's hear from some of her colleagues about what makes her an excellent WAMS honoree.
Diane possesses many characteristics that have made her an outstanding leader, both professionally and philanthropically.
She has been so successful in her business career, and that's in big part because she really cares deeply about people.
And what distinguishes her is her ability to relate to young and old, to senior and junior, with the same degree of care and respect.
It's that empathy and authenticity that allows her to so easily connect with people, and for us to feel so connected to her.
I would say she's a deeply caring person of our people. She's a passionate leader, wanting to do the right thing always, and has no fear of breaking ceilings or barriers.
When she sets her mind to something, she is going to achieve it. She just has that enthusiasm, energy, and drive that not everybody has.
She is so full of life. She has such energy and passion about helping her clients, team members, and the organizations that she supports. That passion, that energy and enthusiasm come through every day when we interact.
Diane is an ardent woman in leadership, diversity and inclusion, and community service champion. And her ability to speak up for what's right is what makes her leadership so effective, unique, and relatable.
She is an extremely authentic person, which is rare these days. Authentic, passionate about what she believes in and she cares about.
And knowing Diane as I have, which is about 9 to 10 years now, I have quite a few stories that I could share. But let me take a moment just to reflect on one. We are hosting a Pride event in support of the LGBTQ+ community. And Diane, as our new GTA partner, managing partner, was asked to come in and say a few words of welcome. And she could have come in and said the typical welcome, however, she went well beyond that. She came in and she spoke about what pride means to her and how it's a bringing together of all people, no matter what your nationality, your orientation, your gender, your religion, or your skin color. She also spoke so openly and authentically about her own experiences and being different in a crowd and how you can actually turn that into a positive.
Diane has been an amazing influence and inspiration in my career. She's always supporting me, pushing me to reach further, and always there when I just needed to speak to someone.
Describing Diane in a word, I would say passionate.
Diane in one word, wonderful.
You can't describe Diane in one word, but if I had to, passionate leader. I know that's two.
In one word, a complex personality, a charming personality like her is tough. But I can say she likes to be a fashionista, but she is a fashionista who's making a difference, who has a purpose, and a fashionista with a heart.
Well, I know that in her role as GTA managing partner, she's been sponsoring the MS Bike. And Diane, we think that she might sleep in her high heels. So can't imagine how those work on a bike, but Diane can do anything, so you never know.
So Diane, congratulations on this great recognition of your leadership both professionally and philanthropically. You've been a role model, a coach, a trusted confidant, and a friend. Thank you and congratulations. Congratulations,
Diane, on being honored for your leadership in the charitable sector and, of course, in the profession.
Being honored for your contributions and your journey is a truly remarkable accomplishment, Diane, and I couldn't be happier for you.
All right. That was great. Now, welcome, Diane, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Liz. And
is it weird seeing yourself, that video?
Well, I'm really touched by the video and my dear partners and friends who made those comments. So it was really lovely. Thank you.
Well, as you heard, I did an introduction, but I want to ask you now if there's anything you'd like to share with us that was not covered. Like, for example, what series are you binging on right now?
Well, I haven't been really binging. I don't have a ton of time for TV, and in this environment, I'm always kind of glued to the news. But I think probably what wasn't mentioned was my family. And I've got a wonderful husband, Ross Sinclair, and two great kids, Audrey Storino, 27 years old, who just finished all of her work at Schitt's Creek. So definitely we've been watching a lot of Schitt's Creek, huge Emmy Award winning show, and a wonderful son, Jack Sinclair, who's 15. So we often don't include those things in our biographies, if you will. But clearly during this COVID period, I've had even more of an appreciation for my family, that's for sure.
And did I see you with a puppy?
Yes, my puppy, his name is Voski. He's almost full grown now, and he's been in many videos and chats and meetings with my clients and my colleagues. And we have another more adult puppy named Jersey. They are American Cockers. One is chocolate and the other is blonde, and they're definitely keep us on our toes in our home.
I think I've never seen so many puppies as I have in the last maybe 6 months. There's probably a lot of people, a lot of people out there who are relating to having a new addition to the family.
Absolutely.
I also want to ask you about PwC, which has really needed to navigate the pandemic with this large employee base that serves clients who were also significantly impacted. So switching from, really personal to really business, what are the key principles or say the North Star that keep you going?
Well, in my firm in PwC, I think what's always kept me going is our people. We have the most amazing people in our firm, and I get to work with people from all different diverse backgrounds and skills, and of course our clients. We have some amazing clients, and that's always really kept me going. And from a pandemic perspective, in terms of some of the strategies, when we keep in mind really what's important to us, and first and foremost, it's the health and safety of our people. And being really excited to say, how can we engage with our people and continue to be engaging and really show our care for them in this new world, in this new environment? That's kind of what keeps me going, frankly. And we have a set of values in our firm that are really embedded in our culture. Care is one of those values. Our CEO, Nicolas Marcoux, has been wonderful with our whole leadership team to exhibit care, to exhibit calm, to make fact-based decisions, to over-communicate very clearly with our people, with our leadership teams, with our partners during this time. And I think that really sticking to the values of our firm, which really drive our daily behaviors and our culture, have helped us through this pandemic to keep our people together and engaged, and very importantly, to be engaged in the market with our clients. We've done some amazing things virtually, as we're doing today, doing virtual proposals with our clients, having very engaging meetings and things. And so, of course, when the physical aspect is removed, and that can be ideal in many ways, we have to be agile. And I'm so proud of our firm and the technologies that we've been investing in for years, frankly, to be able to do this and to work remotely, but to engage remotely. It's really important. So that's been a piece of our success, and really all of us, bonding together to be able to do this during this important time. And we're not out of it, as we can see. Our cases are going up, and new restrictions are upon us. And we have to continue to be agile and move and shift around this environment.
It is a bonding experience, that's for sure. And it's interesting you talked about communication, because now it's really all about communication since we aren't having those face-to-face meetings as much. Would you consider yourself a natural communicator, or is that something you work at?
I think, it's a very interesting question. I love to communicate sort of from my heart, and I try to do that with facts and with data. And so that I really try to balance those communications. But authenticity to me is absolutely critical in everything that I do. And, I value the authentic conversations that I have with people, whether they're like one-on-one or whether they're in a group. And I think that when your authenticity can come through from a virtual perspective, it makes those communications even richer and more important, because there is something lost at times by communicating virtually. Sometimes they feel a little bit transactional. And while we've had this period to be able to reopen our offices, which we did reopen on September 17th, I've been in quite a bit, and I've been meeting with somebody, at least a couple of people every day. Definitely our people and definitely our clients. And it's been so much fun. And it's like, wow, we can be together again. And something that we would have probably taken for granted, in the past. And if you have relationships already, strong ones, I think virtually you can definitely keep them up with these communications, as you say. If you're trying to build new ones, it's a little bit more difficult. So for me, to your question, am I a natural communicator? If I believe in really getting to know that person and we have some common ground, then it does come easier to me, I believe. But I think that when, you don't know people and it's virtual, it's a little bit harder.
Absolutely. And we've been talking about the pandemic, the situation we're in. So on one hand, we are dealing with COVID-19, but at the same time, some really important questions are being raised about equality and inclusion in society. So we're going to shift to that. PwC has invested a lot of resources toward diversity and inclusion, and you've actually been a very big champion of these. So from your perspective, what role does business and then each of us in our individual roles play when it comes to those critical issues?
So from a PwC perspective, we have in the GTA and across Canada a number of what we call inclusion networks. And these inclusion networks are representative of people who choose to belong to them. So we have our Black Professionals Inclusion Network, for example. We have our Shine Inclusion Network, for example. We have Dawn, which represents mental health. So these inclusion networks represent over 1,000 of our people. So if you take all those people that you mentioned in the beginning and you say, okay, over a third or almost a third of them actually belong to these inclusion networks. These networks are the lifeblood of our firm, and they also represent the market. So they represent Canadian society, they represent the GTA. So it's not just the right thing to do, and I can talk a little bit about what we're doing, particularly on systemic racism and anti-Black racism, for sure. But it's also important for business. And I am a huge champion of women. So that's also, a network from a gender perspective. And we have a fantastic, for example, Women in Leadership program. You alluded to it in the introduction. And, I feel that, for example, on that note, I have this huge obligation to help pave the way, to share my experiences, to help other women. But it's not just me, it's men too. On the topic of broader diversity and inclusion, and some of what you said, Liz, in terms of what's happening, and we watch the news every day, and we see so many terrible events unfolding around us. Our firm has done a number of things. So when George Floyd happened, we decided to do a listening tour of our people, of our Black professionals. And many of us didn't necessarily know how to approach this. Mm-hmm. And it was revealing for me, someone who, I think that I'm sort of close to our people and I'm sensitive to issues. I learned so much through those listening tours. Our CEO did these across Canada. There were about 6 of them, and I was on every single one because I wanted to listen to the people. So it first starts with listening. Then it starts, and that means self-help and education and learning. And so our CEO, Nicolas Marcoux, he set up a task force to be able to look to a number of people to set up 4 or 5 different very, very critical work streams. And these work streams are ones that we are working on with our Black professionals to be able to address a number of issues. I'm on the community work stream, and that's all about what work are we going to do in the community to help youth, and what work are we doing with Black business and Black entrepreneurs. And it's really fascinating work. We've had 3 meetings so far. It's chaired by my partner, Lorianne Beausoleil. I'm learning a lot through it, but it's an illustration, an example of some of the things that we want to do that will help make some tangible change, including looking at the way that we are looking at talent within the firm. We look at gender talent. Well, are we looking at, other talent as well? Certainly we have been, but the lens hasn't been as strong. And I think we're learning a lot through the events of society that are all around us, but particularly in the US. So I'm proud of the work that we're doing. And it's not perfect. It's not perfect in PwC, and it's not perfect anywhere.
Well, it's always a work in progress.
Absolutely.
There's been a couple of terms thrown around recently, like is this a she-demic or a she-session, where women have been impacted more significantly than men. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Is that something you agree with?
I do agree with it. There's studies there that are being done. There was a recent study that shows that 1 out of 4 women feel more disadvantaged, and they have, issues of possibly leaving their careers or leaving the workforce to take care of children. But I feel very passionate about this in that I want to talk a moment about the Prosperity Project, which you may have heard of, Liz. And Pamela Jeffrey, who you also may have heard of, she's an amazing, dynamic woman leader, female leader in Canada. And she started this concept of the Prosperity Project. She is the founder of it. And she came to me along with 60 other senior women across Canada and asked us if we would be part of this project as visionaries. And I agreed. And what we've been doing since then is the most amazing. I've met such amazing women through this. And it's a lot about research. It's a lot about awareness and education, and then working with government and trying to move this needle to ensure that what we have lost through COVID, that we can gain back quickly and do even more. And so one of the work streams that actually I'm chairing is about looking at various household sentiments and behaviors on consumer behaviors. And we did a study with Polera, a poll recently, and it showed an incredible amount of data. If you look at Twitter feed of Polera and you also look at mine and Pamela's, you'll see some of the things that we're posting. And the data is there. It is there, showing that women are feeling actually guilty, more guilty than men in this COVID situation. You have women, particularly single women or women from underrepresented communities, who are feeling it more. And they, if they have a job and school gets shut down and they don't have any help, what are they going to do?
Right.
And so there are so many permeations and aspects to this. It's a wonderful group of visionaries. Pamela is an amazing leader leading us through this. And I'm so proud of the work that Prosperity Project is doing. It's a few months in. So I encourage you and others really to follow us and to participate.
I'd love to. You've inspired me to ask you a question right now that I hadn't planned on asking, but if you don't mind, at what point in your career did you realize that it was time for you to do more than just be great at your job, and actually have influence and affect things beyond what you do in your day-to-day work?
It's a great question. And I actually talk about this a little bit when I'm speaking with women in our Women in Leadership team. And for me, I think the whole switch came on when I realized that being a leader wasn't just about me doing a good job and leading people, that leadership was really about others and trying to make others look good, trying to take the fall when things aren't going so well, being much more transparent about mistakes that we might make, because I feel we learn way more from our mistakes than we actually learn from the great things that we do and pounding ourselves on the chest.
So you have no problem making mistakes?
I don't like making mistakes, but if I do, and when I do, and I certainly do, I feel that I'm confident enough to speak about them, because it's usually not one person or throwing someone under the bus. It's a team. Mm-hmm. Everything is about a team, unless, of course, something is blatantly done that's inappropriate and not ethical and whatever the case might be. So I love when we can sit back and say, why did this not go well? Let's talk about that. Anyway, this whole concept of wanting to sort of give back in my career, I would say in my 30s, I was all about me. I was all about me. And I had to always be proving to everyone that, I was doing a good job. And, all the stigma around being a female and all the things that we learn about and talk about and being in a man's world of business and so on and so forth. Those are things that I certainly felt. And I really I had some mentors and sponsors, but we didn't even know what sponsorship was back when I was going up through the ranks. So I didn't really have that feeling of wanting to do for others. But as I became more mature, and then I learned that leadership isn't about one person, it's about everybody else. That's when, for me, it really changed. And then I think I became a better person and I became a better leader. And yes, the work does speak for itself, but I feel this onerous sort of obligation to give back, but I'm delighted with it. It makes me feel good. And when I can do good things for other people, that's when I'm very satisfied. And I would say that in my business world, but also in my personal life, because for me, the two collide all the time. There is no Diane that sits at home, and does something on the weekend that's not the Diane at PwC. I'm one person. And I believe that, giving back, whether it's personal or professional, for me, it's super important. It's part of the fabric of who I am.
Thank you for sharing that. Before we let you go, whenever this ends, however this ends, for sure we know that the world is not going to spin the same ever again. It's different. And as a leader, is there one piece of advice or one message that you'd like to share with our audience to think about as we face, the future, this unknown future?
So I always talk about this word of hope, and I say never give up your hope. There are generations of people who suffered in many different ways. I'm Armenian, and my ancestors came from Armenia, and they had tremendous hope in 1915 when they came to the United States. And then, ancestors went through depression, they had hope. Something goes wrong, you always have hope. You have to have hope. Hope is also about dreaming, and it's about goals, right? I feel if we're goal-less, we're going to lose our hope. So in this pandemic, there's been wonderful lessons learned. There's been lots of negatives. There's been lots of positives too. So I say, as we kind of reevaluate everything we've been through, wave one, we were in March, we were staring at springtime and, positiveness around that and getting out to cafes and outdoor restaurants and so on. Now we're going back into, this wave two and, cooler weather's coming. We have to keep our hope alive. We have to keep our faith alive, and positivity. Hope comes with positivity. I try to be an optimistic, positive person, and I always hope for lots of things. And I will never lose my hope as it relates to COVID. And I know that we're going to emerge from this stronger than we have been. And in our firm at PwC, we have learned so much. I believe we're in many ways stronger than we were. And I think my family is stronger than they were. And I think I'm stronger than I was, but it's because we don't lose our hope.
I think that will resonate with a lot of people. Would you also recommend people get a puppy?
Yes, absolutely. It's a great time to train a puppy too, because you're home more. And it's super fun. We need lots of distractions. We need fresh air. We need to move around, we need to do lots of things to keep taking care of ourselves, our bodies, and our minds always, but in particularly through this time.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Diane. It was a real pleasure to speak with you, and I hope that we'll be able to connect in person at WAMS 2021.
I hope so. Next year, let's keep our hope up. And Liz, thank you. It was really delightful speaking with you. I had lots of fun doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move from one inspiring story to the next. And I'd like to welcome Alana Palumbo to share her story and the impact that MS has had on her life.
2 years ago, if I was introducing myself, I would have mentioned my name, my age, and likely my profession. Today, this introduction seems incomplete without at least one additional identifier. My name is Alana Palumbo. I'm a 27-year-old art director in Toronto, and I have MS. The thing is, this latest feature to my short bio does not truly reveal anything additional about me. To understand me, you need to understand that the phrase, I have MS, does not define me. To be helpful in communicating who I am, it would be more accurate to say MS has me. MS has me as an adversary, as an advocate, as a beacon, as a nemesis. The reason the phrase, I have MS, does not define me is that unfortunately the challenges it has brought to my life are by no means unique to me. The physical, emotional, and mental grind, this is MS and not me. The part where I come in is how I tackle this three-headed shadow. This is my true story. It all really starts with honesty, with myself and everyone around me. I had 1 year between when the first doctor mentioned the term multiple sclerosis to when I was officially diagnosed. This year was really important for me, mentally and emotionally. This is where being completely honest with myself became a prerequisite for moving forward. This critical year, I got engaged, I moved into a new house, and I was promoted to art director. I entered into all three of these massive moments in my life with the full recognition that I was at the doorstep of my diagnosis. I had already accepted the truth of MS in my life, and this is why MS has me. Once all the tests finally confirmed what my body was screaming out to me, I had no choice but to confront the next layer of honesty. Honesty with those closest around me, family, friends, and of course, work. The way I saw it, I had a choice. Use my energy to try and hide what I was physically and mentally going through, or use this energy to overcome the initial pain and shame of sharing this diagnosis. I say pain and shame because more than anything else, I did not want to be looked at differently and certainly not pitied. I hate being vulnerable, and honesty is a one-way path to vulnerability. Thankfully, I took this path. To hide from the people you will need to lean on is a sure way to set yourself up for a fall. The response to my honesty was overwhelming. Far from isolating myself, I was finding that my honesty was strengthening the bonds with the truly important people in my life. In differing degrees, they all became places to place myself during the roller coaster ride of tests, symptoms, treatments, and emotions. MS is not something you do alone, and this is why MS has me. The support was great, but just like everything else, I understood that it was up to me to do the heavy lifting, and that despite everyone's love and care, they cannot do what I must do for myself. And so I planned my wedding. I supported my fiance as he opened his own business, and I took my role as art director to the next level, from team building to award winning. I had every reason to slow down. I had every opportunity to back off. I had every excuse at my disposal and the most compassionate network of people around me. And despite this, I kept on keeping on. The dark days had their days, but they did not quiet my will to fight, to endure, to push on. I looked at all the people my honesty connected me to, and in each of them, I saw a great reminder of the person I was and wanted to continue to be. I knew that I could not allow MS to be the reason behind my life choices, and this is why MS has me. MS has activated the activist in me, the altruist in me. Just as so many things were changing within my body, my focus began shifting outwards to others, not just those beset by the challenges I faced, but by the challenges we all face, because we are human beings. As a rule, I dislike talking about myself. I dislike being the center of attention in any format, and yet here I am speaking about my life. MS has forced me to shift what I need to do in order to remain authentic. And this shift has turned my attention away from what I dislike towards what is needed most. Has MS changed me? Yes. Every day it forces me to grow, to stay ahead. Every day the concept of being myself has a new challenge to it. Have I changed MS? Yes. Every day that I fight, I add a new dimension to what MS looks like, to what it sounds like, to how it is perceived. Every day I'm defining MS, and there is no choice in the matter because MS has me.
Alana, thank you so much for sharing your story today and for opening up to the audience. Right now, we'd like to give a special thanks to our presenting sponsor, the Love You by Shoppers Drug Mart program. Shoppers Drug Mart has made a commitment to positively impact women's health and MS by helping the MS Society update and create new resources and raise awareness of topics related to women's health. Shoppers Drug Mart's partnership empowers Canadian women living with MS by providing information and support that will help them live their best lives. So check it out at mssociety.ca/women's health. All right, we've come to an end, everybody. Thank you for being such a great audience. And you can join us next week on October 22nd as the speaker series heads to Atlantic Canada. We're going to hear from Candace Thomas, Deputy Minister of Justice and Deputy Minister of Social Innovation and Integrative Approaches for the province of Nova Scotia. Have a great day, everyone.